Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Potsy Fans Network proudly brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Potsy and Tino show. That was Mandy Leone. I apologize for her getting cut off for some reason on my end. But with that said, Tino, we always start this show with a little segment called What's Up With You?
I'm crippled.
Yeah, and he's not a cripple cricket, which
I tore
used to
my
be the drink of choice.
I tore my meniscus.
You don't even know what a meniscus is.
It's in my knee. It's one of the tendons in my knee. Well, I don't know how many I tore. I won't know till tomorrow when I go get my MRI, which is gonna be fun. So other than that, yes, went to the doctor Thursday. Obviously tore my meniscus, set up the MRI. Then Saturday we did Haley's birthday because her birthday was Wednesday. She turned 21, so we did her party Saturday. I could have gone to get the MRI Saturday at 5:45, but I told the lady, can't do it. Got a birthday party.
Can't do it.
Scheduled me for tomorrow. So we did the party. You came. You surprised us. What's up, Chris Barrett?
Chris Barrett's already in the chat. Look at him.
You surprised us and showed up. And we, play Madden. And then
we played Madden.
Yeah, we play Madden. So and then today is my mom's birthday. So yesterday we took her out to lunch and spent the day with her and loved on mom for the big 7-0.
I was not invited.
No, you don't get to go to that.
You'd have been invited to my mom's birthday.
Okay, well, you were busy.
I had nothing going on except for family lunch, and we could have brought my entire family to your
family lunch.
What's that?
That's what we did. We did family lunch for mom's birthday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is we totally could have brought the entire Pochak fam.
Oh shit!
Your way.
I don't think she.
Chris Barrett, I'm gonna have to have you put it in the chat. You just heard the greatest Subway story, so put it in the chat, and I will post it to the group. But so that's what you had going on, Tino. You tore your meniscus.
Tore my meniscus.
Haley had her birthday, and Mom's had her birthday.
Yes.
And by the way, I got to meet Tino's mom for the first time ever this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Which blew me away that it was the first time I ever met your mom.
I know, right? Because usually
you had met my mom on multiple occasions.
Well, because my mom lived so far away, and now she lives closer. It just never came up that you met my mom. That's weird. Yeah.
Well, what we learned, let's be real. What we learned is that when Tino got married and all of his friends met his mom, I apparently wasn't a cool enough friend to be invited to the wedding.
I don't think that was it. I don't know if you had something else. I don't see me not inviting you guys to the wedding. So I don't know.
I know that's what's so weird about it. Like you would have invited me, you would have invited my sister.
So I don't know why.
Probably, with as cool as my mom is, you probably would have invited my mom.
Yeah, so I can't remember if I did it came up.
More than anything else, you would have invited all of them because you would have gotten a gift.
Oh, I just invited you guys to come have fun because it was a party.
Yeah, but like my mom being invited or whatever, or my sister, like I know that you're friends with my sister, right? Like she invites you down to the beach house all the time. Like that is a fact. She actually invites you down to the beach house all the time. But we all want gifts when we invite people to things.
I wasn't thinking like that.
Well, back then you weren't because my sister and Shane, my brother-in-law, probably weren't well-to-do at that point.
Right.
And my parents, like my mom was still trying to like, take care of a family and everything. So Chris Barrett says,
Oh, here we go.
my mother works for Subway corporate, and she was telling me that she received a customer complaint stating that Jared was better for the Subway brand because he stood for a healthy lifestyle. Now, anybody who knows anything about Jared
He touches little
knows
boy.
that. What's that?
He touches little boys. Didn't he go to jail? Was that Jared that went to jail?
It was not for little boys. He was not a priest for the Catholic religion, or whatever religion does that. I assume Catholic.
It's Dave.
He liked. I think I want to say 14-year-old girls was his way of doing things. Interestingly enough, during the Olympics, I noticed that the commercials had Stephen Curry, they had a female volleyball player, a female soccer player, and they had Tom Brady in all these commercials. And each one of the commercials, the joke was that there wasn't enough time to sit there and actually try to do like the Subway thing during the commercial. And what made it funny to me, Tino, was that like Stephen Curry says to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady takes the sandwich from him, and Stephen Curry looks at him and goes, "Tom, do you even eat bread?" Because Tom Brady is a 43-year-old man who literally looks like he's never had a piece of bread in his life, right? Like we're 40-something-year-old men, and I can tell you, I love bread. One of my favorite meals is eating toast with nothing but butter and just eating crunchy toast and finishing an entire loaf. But Tom Brady in the commercial says to Stephen Curry, "Steph, it's a commercial." So he breaks the fourth wall to tell you, "No, I don't eat bread, but they paid me enough money to sit here and tell you should eat the sandwich." So Chris Barrett also said, well, the customer was comparing Jared to Rapinoe, and the main Subway spokesperson during the Olympics was Megan Rapinoe.
Found it. Hold on. After, and this is talking about Jared, after attributing significant weight loss to eating Subway sandwiches, Fogel was made, his name is Jared Fogel. Fogel was made a spokesperson for the company's advertising campaign from 2000 to 2015. His tenure came to an abrupt end following an FBI investigation that saw him convicted of traveling to pay for sex with minors and possessing child pornography. So not only was it in his town, he left town.
So specifically, he would leave town to go do public speaking engagements, and where he would go, he would find out what the age of consent was to be able to sleep with what would normally be underage people outside of his normal realm. So he was finding 16-year-old people outside of his state. So when he would go to a random state and speak there, he would already have like mistresses waiting for him. And I can't say what, if this was a Law and Order episode, it would have been like somebody was it was like a Russian mafia thing where it was, underage girls and everything else. But what Jared tried to do the entire time was make sure that they were of the legal age of consent for the state that he was going to. And that's why it made it so hard for them to convict him of all that stuff.
Mm.
It's just fucking nuts, man. Believe it or not, Subway used to give away Jared trading cards. Yes, I do have a Jared trading card. Whew, I don't even know what to say to that. Like here we are thinking that the biggest news of the week is whether or not Adam Cole is signing with the WWE, and Chris Barrett dropping bombs on us like he likes to do. Uh, and I haven't even said what's going on with me this week.
What's going on with you, Mr. Wet Wipes?
Wet wipes. Oh. So Tino thinks that as an artist, it's completely okay to sit there and go to a restaurant, get your hands all dirty, and be drawing at the same time.
So let's start from the beginning. So
go ahead. You tell this story because I don't want to. Yeah, Chris Barrett, you win.
Yeah,
Chris Barrett wins. No matter what we talk about tonight, Chris Barrett wins. Unless we get sued for the fact that we're reporting false news.
No, I read that off of Wikipedia. But
I read that off of Chris Barrett.
So Rob texted me. What time did you text me, sir? Rob texted me at 7:36. 7:36. It was 7:36. 7:36. He said, got into a conversation. Hope around 8:30 is okay. Sorry. So that was 7:36. Okay, so I'm like, all right.
We've been online for 12 minutes.
Yeah, but we should have been online for 48. So it was already going to be late. All right. And then he came later. And I'm like, then he's like, well, we were talking. He's like, well, I was going to stop and get food. I'm like, dude, you were at Ruckus. Why didn't you eat? He said, because I was drawing. I'm like, what's that doing anything? He goes, well, I probably would have gotten wings and I would have got sauce and all over my pens. And I'm like, dude, that's what napkins are for. And if you don't use napkins, you could use a wet wipe. So then we got into the conversation. Subway Insider. Then we got into a conversation about a heated conversation. I'm like, dude, just use wet wipes. Eat, clean your hands off, and go back to drawing. And tell them why you said you could. Because then he would lose. He would lose his creativity in the 3 seconds it took to wipe his hands with wet wipes.
It wasn't. Hey, it's not just 3 seconds, brother. Because the entire time it takes to eat is going to be longer than 3 seconds.
I'm just saying, take bites.
No, because then I would need a different wet wipe for every time. If I was creating art, mind you, which by the way, while you sit there and say that, I'm going to go ahead and share the latest Junior High Horrors cover with the group. Right there.
Is that giving? Can you get a cease and desist for that? Because I don't know. Did you get permission?
Why? Why do I need permission?
Because that looks like Ralph Macchio, just with no eyeballs.
It's not Ralph Macchio. That's Mikey from Junior High Horrors, and that's JV right there.
That's right eye. Not left eye. That's right eye. That's not.
It's not TLC.
He's right eye.
No, that's JV and that's Mikey.
Okay.
And that's who it is. And that's one of the 2 covers that
it's cool.
I've delivered for the latest issue, which, by the way, I will say right now is anticipated to be in stores in January 2022. The problem we're running into is that, Tino, I don't know if you knew this, okay? And
when is my book coming from Amazon? Did they ever say?
Well, that's what I was getting ready to talk to you about. You ready for this?
Oh, shit.
Whew! Because I'm pissed off now, okay? So there is legitimately a paper shortage, right? We talked about this. There is a shipping shortage. There is a trucking shortage.
I'm never going to get my book.
There is
You
how
harass
I
me and harass
feel right now about all of this. And ultimately, it all goes back to the fact that, like, right now, people are able to sit at home, do nothing, and get paid to sit at home and do nothing.
Yeah, that's about right.
And we need people to be driving the trucks. We need people to be printing the artwork. We need people to be so all in all, until we get people actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. No, it's left eye because it's mirrored. Until we get people doing what they're supposed to be doing because they're finally accepting jobs and doing the work for the proper amount of pay, these books are being delayed. Like, I am getting ready to, on Saturday, go to Free Comic Book Day at Dragon's Lair Comics in Fayetteville, a shop that has been there for 40 years. 40 years. Run by my buddy Bernie. He's an awesome dude. The entire staff is freaking phenomenal. I'm going to be there with Eric Klaus from Ninjas and Robots. I'm going to be there with Troy Dongar. I don't even know how to say his last name, but he does a book called Slapshot, and it's phenomenal. We're all going to be doing sketches. We're going to be selling books. We're going to be doing everything we can to try to draw up some excitement while we're there. But I was hoping and I was expecting to have the junior high horrors trades there, and now they have been pushed back to September 27th by Amazon, and I am furious. And all I can say about it is this: is that
Boo.
we are using American publishers or printers, right? And now, because of all the problems trying to get books on time from out of the country printers, like Chinese printers or Norwegian printers or Australian printers or whatever, almost every publisher has now decided that they want to print their books inside the United States, which is great for United States printing, right? Like, it's a good thing, except for the fact that when you're one of the smaller publishers, even though your book was there in July, you've now been pushed back to a September release date. So I'm not happy about that. I'm saying it right here to everybody to hear, but there's nothing I can do about it. So Return of the Walking Flu has been pushed back, and I apologize. Junior High Horrors Volume 1, Freaks and Geeks, has been pushed back, and I apologize. But what I can tell you is this, is that this weekend I will be there at Dragon's Lair for a CGC official signing. So any of the books that I sign that day can be sent off to get graded and put in the hard slabs that suddenly make them worth like 3 times as much no matter what. The cool thing about that is that for the first time ever, Tino, are you ready for this? For the first time ever, Chris Barrett, you're a comic book fan, you understand this. For the first time ever, somebody will be witnessing glow in the dark signatures. So any book that I sign, if you want a glow in the dark signature, there may be a premium added to the cost of the book. I can't dispute that. But you will be able to get your book signed with glow-in-the-dark ink.
That's cool.
So
Cool.
that will be like there are people that sign their books CGC and they do like rainbow signatures. This will be the first, like I have not heard of anybody else doing this. If anybody else has, I can't fight them on it. But I can do glow in the dark blue, I can do glow in the dark red, I can do glow in the dark green, whatever. The signature can glow in the dark in different colors. So as far as I know, this will be a first time anywhere. And then on top of that, if my shipment gets here soon enough, and it's supposed to be here by Friday, which would allow me to bring it with me Saturday to Dragon's Lair, Tino, I may have the very first ever CGC graded Chrome signings.
What's that?
Glad you asked. It basically means that when I sign the page, if it does it correctly, it will then show up in a Chrome. So when you look at the piece of art like this, you will see yourself in my signature.
Like a reflection.
Like a mirror.
Nice.
So if that works, I'm going to tell you right now, that will be a first time ever when it comes to CGC, which by the way is Comics Grading Company. So they are the legitimate source for making sure that you get the highest graded comics with the best signatures and everything else. So I can tell you straight up, Dragon's Lair is already guaranteed that they're going to be doing the signings and CGC signings, which is awesome. But the thing that I am promising is that I know I will have glow-in-the-dark signatures available.
Nice.
How awesome is that, man?
I can't.
And then I just want to let everybody know, because this is What's Up With You. There's two more things I got to talk about. Number one, in January 2022, I just showed you the cover. I'll go ahead and I will share it one more time for everybody to take a look. I'm gonna share it here in a second. I apologize it takes so long to do this. So, Junior High Horrors Karate Kai is coming, okay?
All right.
In January 2022. In December 2020, oh, there's the other piece of artwork, by the way. I wasn't even going to show that yet. But here's my other cover.
And
this is the villain reveal cover, which will be the retailer incentive for any retailer that buys at least 5 copies of Junior High Horrors Karate Kai. They will get the Martin Crease cover. So if you've watched Cobra Kai, I think you know who this guy is. And what I'll say about it is this: you got to buy 5 copies of the book as a retailer. You get 1 copy of that cover. It will have the logos on it. But what's really cool, Tino, is that Cobra Kai was announced for December of 2021. So we're going to make sure our book is out in 2022 in January, so that way anybody still riding the high of Cobra Kai will actually be able to see the Junior High Horrors characters in a karate situation. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'm halfway through the script right now. I drew 2 covers this weekend. I'm really excited about it. Eric's covers, we're not ready to show like the final version of it yet, but I can tell you, if you go to his Facebook and his Twitter, he's shown off like where he is in those covers, and they're phenomenal. Like, Eric is making sure that people are going to want to buy the book, because in the book you also get the pull-out poster of it. And Tino, you saw that for Strangest Thing Is. You got to see what that would look like. So but yeah, so we're super excited about it. I was working on the covers for the past 2 days. Super excited about how my covers came out. We're probably going to give my main cover, the one that's got JV and Mikey on it, we're probably going to give that a little bit of a digital cleanup, but I want to let everybody know that that cover was drawn by hand, colored by hand, and everything else. So I mean, it is legitimately like, you know, so here's the Martin Cove piece right here. Pretty awesome, right? But here is on an 11 by 17 the actual JV and Mikey full piece right here. So massive piece of artwork. You can see how big it is comparatively. But hand drawn, hand colored. So I'm very proud of it.
Chris said to give you
$10. Chris, unfortunately, I would assume that the original art will probably be looking at more like $200 for it. So with that said, that's where I am with what's going on with me. And now, Tino,
here we go.
I don't even have one.
You suck.
No. Did I ever tell the Heelys story about the kid that had the Heelys?
I don't remember.
All right. So in my first year working at Gamestop, I actually watched a kid. I was at Babbage's in Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh, North Carolina, right? And I see that Chris Barrett's saying something. Chris Barrett says he'll raise his offer to $5. That was not a raise of the offer.
That's Lauren, by the way.
Just so you know. But anyway.
And we lost Rob.
We lost me? Am I not here? Am I here?
Yeah, you're here now. Yep, you are now.
Okay, so we're having some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. So I used to run the Babbage's in Crabtree Valley Mall. We called it the Old 96er. Does that term mean anything to you, Tino?
You said that before, but you said that about another store. It was the Old 96er.
No, the Old 96er, by the way, if you ever watched the movie Funny Farm with Chevy Chase.
Right.
There was a point where they called something the Old 96er. And that was when he went and he ate the moose balls or whatever it was that he ate in that movie. And he ate 96 of them so that he would take the record of being the guy that ate the most of the yeah. But that's the only other reason why I know anybody recognizes the term Old 96er. Well, GameStop used to name their stores based on when they opened. So if you were the 96th store, you would be 96. So 0096, right? So the Babbage's that I started at was the Old 96er. It was 0096.
Okay.
To give contrast to it, the other store across the hall in the mall, when GameStop and EB combined, was 4534. So you can tell that one store was there to basically put the other store out of business. Very similar to our wrestling knowledge, right?
Right.
The old 96er got to 20 years old, was getting ready to be 21 years old, and
Drinking age.
GameStop decided to shut it down. And when they decided to shut it down, I just happened to be the manager of it. But before that happened, this was at the beginning of Heelys. You remember Heelys?
God, yes.
Did you ever own a pair of Heelys?
I was too old for Heelys.
Did your daughter ever own a pair of Heelys?
I'd kill her.
Okay.
No.
So for those that don't know, Chris Barrett probably does because he probably still wears them. Heelys were the little roller in the bottom of your shoe that if you leaned up on your heels would take you for a loop. And the GameStop that I ran at that point, the Babbages actually had like a 1 to 2 inch thick bulletproof glass door. Okay. So this kid was heeling around, kept doing circles, and looked into the store at one point and didn't realize that he was so close to the door that he smacked into the door and fell directly on his ass.
Nice.
This is what I did, Tino.
You laughed.
I didn't go up to ask if the kid was okay. You know what I did?
Clean my glass.
I walked up with glass cleaner and I started spraying the window with glass cleaner, which, by the way, had the mist falling on the kid who's sitting there going. And I wiped off the glass, looked down at him, and said, "Are you ready for this? It serves you right."
You're an ass. You're a mean old man. You're one of those get off my lawn old men.
Oh, if I had seen a kid wearing Heelys trying to ride around my store, I would have figured out a way to get a hose to sit there and spray them down. Come on, though. That is a great GameStop story of the week.
Bust his
ass. You know
ass.
it is. You love it. You want to be part of it.
His ass. There it is. Pain pills.
It's all right.
No.
I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, Tino.
To the moon.
What the fuck is going on in the WWE, and more specifically with the 12 people released in NXT?
I don't know, but we were talking, and this is about to piss me off, and I'm about to do something about this in a minute. Do you see what's going on behind me? Yeah, it's voice activated. So you see that? Every time I talk.
Keep it going.
Pisses me off. Don't clap. Bitch, don't clap. But anyway, we were talking about it. So we got Bronson Reed, we got Bobby Fish, who are the two big names that they dropped. But even one of the they dropped, we were talking about last week, Leon Ruff. They dropped Leon Ruff. We were saying how whatever happened to him, well, that's what happens. And Rust, who just came in as part of the Diamond. Yeah. So I mean, what Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, I don't know if they just didn't have anything left for Bobby Fish because of UE broke up. But you got to think about it too. During the UE, when they were big, they brought in Strong to replace because he was hurt. Fish spent most of the UE so I guess they figured UE broke up. We don't have anything for you.
Yeah,
So I'm just asking if Braun.
so I feel like I might be losing you. So folks, if you're out there and you hear like a drop off or whatever, make sure that you ask us to repeat what we're saying. The big news that I'm hearing is that Vince, John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard all went to NXT, and they were the reason why certain people got cut. And on top of the certain people getting cut, Tino, what we ended up hearing was that Vince specifically said no midgets and nobody over the age of 30. Because what I'm taking from that is that he wants people 6'2" and above, and he wants people that go through the WWE development system like Reggie to become a true pro wrestler from inside their system, so they don't know any way other than what they're used to. And they've got to be under the age of 30, because by the time they're 35, they should be main eventing WrestleMania. And I got to tell you, what I've heard from this, and what this is what everybody is reporting. So we're not reporting anything new with this. But the thing that you have to take from this is that it's Vince McMahon being Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, since 1979, has wanted guys the size of Hulk Hogan. He started a bodybuilding league that failed miserably during his steroid era because he wanted guys that were 6 foot whatever and 260 pounds. Now, we've heard that there are rumors that Adam Cole from NXT has been offered a $1 million per year contract because they don't want to let the premier talent go. And if I had to guess, this is a Shawn Michaels, Triple H set up a meeting with Vince McMahon and said, you need to talk to this kid because this kid has all the talent in the world. And Vince is willing to listen if you get him at the right moment, right? At the same time, Tino, I made a big joke this week, and I mean a big joke, but it is a joke that I think the wrestling community needs to hear. And this includes you, Chris Barrett, because I know that you're writing something about Shawn Michaels and Triple H. But I joked in our group that Vince McMahon doesn't think that going up against AEW is competition, specifically because when he hears the name Khan running the company, he says, Khan already works for me. And I think that it goes as far as Vince McMahon does not realize that Nick Khan is not Tony Khan, and that they are not both the sons of Shaq Khan. Like, I literally am starting to begin to believe this, because for Vince McMahon to think that they're not competition, even though knowing that AEW beat his third tier program on a weekly basis, I have to believe.
So you're admitting it's competition now? Because you've been arguing with me for weeks that he's not competition.
I told you it's not competition in the way that Vince looks at it. That's why Vince is still releasing talent. I told you that. And in fact, if Vince McMahon truly believes that Khan works for him, no, he doesn't believe that it's competition. He does not. He literally is sitting there going, why does everybody keep thinking that this AEW is my competition when I work with that guy?
Yeah.
Because we've all talked about how racist he is. We've all talked about how like out of touch he is. We've all talked about all of that stuff. So it truly doesn't surprise me if someone tells me that Vince McMahon does not know that Tony Khan and Nick Khan are two different people. It would not surprise me in the slightest.
I don't know if he thinks that. I'm sure he probably thinks they're just all related. I'm saying I don't know that he thinks that Tony Khan is the Khan that worked. I just think he thinks they're all related. So he probably thinks I got a Khan working on me.
I mean, again, the same thing though is why would people call this competition? If I sit there and I release talent from WWE contracts and they go to AEW, they're still working for me. You know, like that's how out of touch I believe that Vince McMahon may be, folks.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. Like, I wish I was joking about this, but how do you let Braun Strowman go? How do you let Bray Wyatt go? Like, and I look at it now and I see Bronson Reed go. Okay, Bronson Reed was 32 years old and he was 5'11". So when you look at it, yes, as big as he was against the other NXT guys, he wasn't the monster that Vince is looking for. Not like a Keith Lee, right? But Keith Lee got jobbed for 6 months, got taken off TV, got told you're going back to big man college, whatever the case might be. When you look at all this other stuff, I legitimately look at it and I go, what the fuck is he thinking? And you and I have had this conversation. You were sitting right here next to me and everything else. And I had to stop you because I said, when a company sits there and announces record earnings and they announce budget cuts, what does that mean?
They're selling.
They're trying to sell the business. Vince McMahon next month turns 76 years old.
But why would he? So if he sells it, is that saying he doesn't think that Triple H and Stephanie can run it like he ran it? You know what I mean? Why sell it?
So
he's got money. He's got more money.
Let's look back at the McMahon history. Okay, Vincent K. McMahon never thought that Vincent J. McMahon should ever own his business, should never get into the family business, and would not run the family business correctly. That legitimately is what Vincent K. McMahon felt.
You got it backwards. Vincent Kennedy's the one who owns it now. Vincent J's the dad.
You're right. I'm sorry. Vincent J. McMahon.
Yeah.
So all things considered, and I apologize for getting the initial wrong, but Vincent J. McMahon never felt like Vincent K. McMahon should be involved in the business, never should run the business, and wouldn't know what to do with the business. So what if in a total play of the father becomes the son or the son becomes the father, he sits there and he goes, we got a publicly traded company. It's worth $6 billion. Let's just put it in the hands of Peacock and Universal, and we get out now. Now, most people have already said that in this type of situation, the company that is going to take it private and buy it from you is going to keep some of the people in charge. So they would want to contract with either Vince, Triple H, Stephanie, or a combination of those people. Notice the one name that I didn't mention there.
Shane Mack.
No, I didn't mention Nick Khan. Because Nick Khan he's conning the McMahons out of their business. That's what he's doing. They are going to sell this business and it may be for the better.
Excuse me.
But overall, they are going to get rid of the business. That it is going to be sold. If Vince was going to sell, he probably would sell. No, not at all. Not at all, Chris Barrett. He is going to sell to Universal. He's going to sell to Peacock. He's going to whatever it is. It's going to be a $6 billion transaction. What I want to point out is this, and this is what the wrestling fan does not understand. And Tino, this is something that you and I argue about constantly because your heart is in the pro wrestling business. And mine is too. That's why the argument, I'm like, I get what you're saying, but here's the argument. Vince McMahon for 20 years has said he's not in the wrestling business.
Right.
Nick Khan says we are not in the wrestling business. So Nick Khan gets what Vince McMahon is trying to pander and ponder off on people, right? The wrestling industry knows that Vince McMahon holds the keys to probably the top tier of all of the wrestling talent in the entire world. There are guys that could run with the money, right? Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Okada, like these guys could, but they're not like right now. If they all merged into one company, you're not getting Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega. You're getting Roman Reigns versus The Rock still, right? Mm-hmm. Kenny Omega is not headlining that show. So when you consider all of the money, all of everything going on, if Vince McMahon sells this company, they're not going to sell it to a wrestling promoter because there isn't a wrestling promoter besides Tony Khan that has enough money to buy it from him. They're going to sell it to a corporation, which very well similar to what Ring of Honor did. Ring of Honor got bought out by Sinclair Broadcasting, which, by the way, is like the #1 syndicated broadcasting company in the fucking world, which means if they really cared about the product, they could put it on in prime time every night of the week if they wanted to.
Yeah.
They don't care about it enough. And Peacock's not going to care about it enough. Peacock looks at it as a way to get people involved with Peacock. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a shrinking of what's going on. And as such, I'll go ahead and say right now, we look at NXT. This says, is it in a holding pattern? This is a question we asked a couple weeks ago. The fact is this. Vince McMahon's edict to the company said, we are going to cut talent that is over 30 years old and under 6 feet tall. We want to create talent that is going to be 6 feet tall and above and WrestleMania main event caliber talent, right?
They're going to lose a lot of talent with that edict.
Well, here's my question. That doesn't mean that talent that they lose is going to be from NXT. It could be a massive call-up from NXT to SmackDown and Raw, and they get rid of all the talent that's been basically sitting around doing nothing for fucking 4 years. Like, what stops them from saying, hey, Bobby Roode, you've done nothing for us and you're 40 years old? Nothing.
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy is a future Hall of Famer, so they will continue to job him to all the young talent.
My point, I'm thinking all these guys that they had that
So Phillyfliper wants to know if we've watched Olympic wrestling as well. And Tino, you're kind of going in and out, so I don't know if it's my program or your program that's going in and out. But what I will say is I did watch I did watch Gable's gold medal match in the Olympics that came down to the last 2 seconds. And this is a guy whose brother is already at the WWE Performance Center. And I was impressed. He had to come back from like 7-4 to win the match like 9-8. And I was very impressed. Jeff Hardy has been with the company longer than Triple H has. Not true, because Jeff Hardy did take like 10 years off, at least from the WWE. He didn't take 10 years off from prison or TNA.
He says Khan doesn't have money. He doesn't, but his dad does.
I'm sorry, repeat that, Tino.
I was reading Chris Barrett said up a few up, says Tony Khan doesn't have enough to buy WWE. He doesn't, but his dad does.
But it's not about them buying the WWE. It's going to be bought by a major corporation. And I'm not saying that Tony Khan can't, because Shah Khan is worth $6 billion. Vince McMahon's worth $2 billion. So could you buy the WWE as AEW? Absolutely. Will they do it? No, it doesn't make sense. It's not a good play for the Khans. Chris Barrett's saying that the Khans are only worth $2 billion. No, they're worth $6. They're worth $6 because their National Football League team is worth, I think, $4 billion by itself. Their soccer team is worth another $2 billion. And then those people themselves are worth a certain amount of money. So all in all, they're worth at least $6 billion. Whereas, again, Vince McMahon is worth $2 billion currently. Phillyfliper says, I think if someone buys it, it will go to Mexico. Big wrestling culture out there. I'm going to disagree with you there, Philly, only because the Khans are worth it. So now Chris Barrett's saying that they're not worth just $2 billion, they're worth $8 billion. But Philly, I'm going to go ahead and say that there's a highly unlikelihood that you're going to see just a company buy them unless it is one of these major corporations. Tino, you agree with me? Did we lose Tino?
Me.
What?
No, I'm here.
Okay, because like you haven't moved
possibly
on my
Disney
screen in a while. So what do you think there?
Disney.
Are you gonna give us your opinion, or should I keep going?
Disney.
Why would Disney buy them?
Oh, okay. You heard me. Oh. Why not?
So Disney owns everything else, right? Okay, folks, I can't tell if I'm losing everybody or if I'm losing Tino. So if you're hearing me and you're not hearing Tino, please put it in the chat so that we can figure out exactly what's going on here. But Disney's not going to buy them because Universal have first go. And what I mean by Universal having first go, Universal has already put $2 billion into it. And Chris Barrett says that I'm coming in fine, Tino. So I assume that it's you that is having the issues with your internet connection tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and say Disney will not buy them because they're not going to be given the opportunity to buy them. Tino's turning off that light because he thinks it has something to do with the internet.
No, I'm just trying to go to another room. I don't know.
You look like you're in the club now.
Trying to see if this is gonna.
It's like,
give me a better signal.
Yeah, let's do this.
Keep going.
So again, Universal has already put $2 billion into the WWE. Why would they ever sell to Disney first? Universal's going to be given first opportunity, and they're going to be given a better deal to buy them. They're going to say, hey, you're already an investor in our company. What is your offer, before they ever put it on the table for anything else? So ultimately, Universal will have the most likely, well, and Chris Barrett says that they'll have to split the deal with Fox. Untrue. And here's why. Because while the SmackDown licensing rights to television programming were sold to Fox for $1 billion, Peacock and Raw and NXT are all with Universal. So because of that, while Fox may get a play at WWE, and this is the new Fox, not even the Fox that became part of Disney, there is a high probability that Universal is going to be the only real person wanting to buy that opportunity to own everything that is the WWE. And I have to say that is my firm and true belief behind it. Obviously, without being an investor of most of the companies, although I am an investor. By the way, Tino, I guess I do have to let this information out so it's not insider information. I am an investor of WWE. So with that said, I can tell you I would still anticipate Universal being the main player in the should we or shouldn't we buy the WWE company. Are you there?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. I can even hear you now.
Yeah, I think
you're not this.
I think my daughter's room must have for some reason the signal is weak in there.
Porn.
Well, I hope she's not watching porn. That's her computer, dude, not my daughter.
Well, that is definitely this computer right here. I'll tell you, it's annoying at how slow it runs from time to time. Go, Shawty, it's your birthday. No, it was, and by the way, Tino's daughter is not Shawty at all. She's like 6'4".
1.
Okay, 6'1", but I'm like 5'7", so it feels like 6'4".
Wow.
I gave Tino's daughter a hug this weekend for her birthday. What? Can you hear me? Did you freeze again? Guys, I don't know what's going on with Tino.
It's not me, dude. It's not me because I'm in stronger. It's got to be you. There's your little red thing clicking.
You're definitely the one frozen. Like I am.
I'm not frozen
at all.
No, you're
the audience has even said you're the one freezing, so it's not me.
Guess we're on the show then.
What's that?
Guess we can end the show.
No, we're not going to end the show. We're going to continue the show. You're just going to be like. Well, someone who is also 5'8", anyone above 6 foot is also a giant. Yes, you are absolutely correct, Chris Barrett. But so Tino, that's how I feel about like the whole like belief that Vince McMahon wants to go back to his 1980s way of thinking and everything else. I don't know how you feel about it. I don't necessarily think it's right. And we've obviously heard that there are exceptions to the rule when it comes to Adam Cole because Adam Cole apparently was offered $1 million a year to stay with the WWE and told specifically he will not be with the NXT brand going
Now,
forward.
and how old is Cole?
Does it matter?
Yeah, if he
Like I
see,
said, it's
because
an
he can't.
exception
He's
to the
doing
rule.
it. He said he wants nobody under 6. You can't be like, I want anybody. I want nobody
I
under
just
6 foot.
said exception to the rule. Like you get a meeting with Vince fucking McMahon and you can write your own
So
ticket if he
that's what I'm
likes you.
saying. He is making up. He's making up rules as it goes along. You know what I'm saying? He's not thinking about the WWE universe. He's thinking about what Vince wants to see, and that's why people are getting
But
pissed
that's
off.
the way it's always been.
I understand that.
The years that you had Hulk Hogan as the main champion, you still had Bret Hart working for the company.
Yeah, but now he's not one. Bret Hart wouldn't be working for the company now.
That doesn't mean that Bret Hart wouldn't be working for the company. It just means that Bret Hart wouldn't be the guy that he's going after when it comes to contract negotiations. That's what I'm trying to talk about. That's what I think that everybody misses is that Adam Cole is a generational talent. We all talk about this. We all say this. We all say that you could shut down NXT tomorrow and there's only like 4 guys from that entire program that you really want to keep. Am I right?
Okay.
So which guys would you say are you can't cut under any circumstance if it came to NXT?
Cross.
Who's already on Raw?
I would say Ciampa or Johnny, but they'll probably cut them because they're too small.
Well, they may be the 2 guys that they keep in NXT. But I'll tell you, based on what you just said right there, and I'm glad you said those 2 names, those are the ones that scare me the most.
Why?
Because Ciampa was the most over person NXT has ever created.
I can see that.
And if he gets told you no longer work here when this was his dream job, which by the way it was, I can only see him sitting there saying, I'm going to prove them wrong and I'm going to make them eat their words. And Gargano, I kind of see the same thing. However, I do think that when Vince says nobody under 6 foot and nobody over the age of 30, I do think that there are exceptions to the rule, especially when it comes to the actual NXT talent, because I think what's going to happen is Vince is going to say, Hunter, Sean, who do you want as your champions? Who do you want as your trainers? And where are you going to go from there? Because with Ciampa having 2 neck surgeries and everything else, as much as he wants to continue working in the ring, if they offer him twice as much money to be the guy that trains people on how to do what he does in the ring, is he going to say no? When he's talking about his daughter Willow and he's talking about his wife and he's sitting there literally trying to provide more for them than what he does right now. Like I think that instantly he could be turned into a trainer for them. While I would hate to see it, just like Sarah D'Amato or whatever her name is, the one that never actually wrestled for NXT, but yet has been in charge of the women's division for like 4 years now. The former like Ring of Honor Women's Champion or New Japan Women's Champion and all that. Like I sit there and I go, God, I wish that they would actually wrestle in WWE. And yet at the same time, I'm kind of glad that some of them don't, because their expertise on training and developing the talent has given us better product overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about some of it. I would love Ciampa to continue being the guy that I sit there and I go, this is the guy I want to watch for the next 10 years. But at the same time, if he can develop the next talent to be him, and I know that it was him that actually developed the next 6 guys to be what he is in the ring, then I want to I want what's best for the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sucks because you know how much of a Ciampa fan I am. I wasn't a Ciampa fan in Ring of Honor, but when he went to NXT, like, and my buddy Tom is the guy that designs all of his artwork and all of his shirts and everything else. So I support all of that stuff because I buy a Ciampa shirt every time we go to a show. But I gotta tell you, man, like I still think that knowing that he has had to have like neck surgery and everything else, that I'd almost rather see what he develops as the next talent rather than him put his life on the line every week. And I don't know. I'm probably the only one that feels that way, but that really is how I feel about it.
But you've got guys who, I mean, Daniel Bryan. Well, his cuss, I guess it's not next, but
I feel the same way.
Really,
Daniel Bryan, when he came back and started wrestling, it was great to see. It was great TV. And by the way, he was like 33 years old when that happened. So it wasn't like he was too old to do it. It legitimately was your body tells you that you shouldn't do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when he came back, you could see that there were certain things he was not allowed to do. And then as he continued wrestling, he started doing more of those things he was told you're not allowed to do, like the diving headbutt. Like, this is a guy who's got concussion syndrome, and you're letting him dive off the top rope and doing a headbutt? No. And yet, I still feel right now that WWE is safer than if he were to go to AEW, because AEW is just going to be like, you be Bryan Danielson. You be the guy that everybody wants to see. And I don't want to see him dive off the top rope and do diving headbutts at this point, because Chris Barrett's saying something. I honestly think that Daniel Bryan should retire, because if he goes anywhere other than WWE, he will end up like Benoit or Dynamite Kid. And I have to agree. Do I think that he is in a better mental state than either of those two gentlemen? Absolutely. Dynamite Kid was very rage oriented and everything else. If you watch the Dark Side of the Ring, you obviously know that. When it comes to Benoit is one of those situations where, like, the more and more trauma and deviation from the norm that he had hitting his brain was causing more and more damage and causing him to lose focus on reality. And that is a fact. And, you know, Chris Nowinski actually created a company for that. And now is the premier company in the world for brain activity and amongst athletes and athlete injuries. So like Mick Foley actually specifically says the name of the company because he knows that as long as he can continue to say that name of the company, that his brain is working naturally. And I know that it's like menthalopathy or something like that. Like I don't even know what the word is, but I know that like he sits there and specifically says it so that he knows that after all the mental trauma he has gone through, which is a ton. If you look at the initial release of Have a Nice Day, his book, it says how many concussions he actually had. And that was like 10 years before he actually stopped in the ring 100%. So think about that. And knowing that now he sits there and struggles with being able to walk, being able to sit there and do conventions or anything else. I love the fact that like you can meet Mick at comedy events, conventions, all that type of stuff. I love the fact that he's doing DDP yoga to sit there and try to keep his body in a frame of movement so that he can actually like be functional. Because I've seen Lex Luger, I've seen Magnum TA, I've seen Sergeant Slaughter. I've seen these guys that are now much older and how hard it is for them to walk around. And I could only sit there. I'll tell you, Tino, I'm 43. I know that you're like what 48. I'm not even trying to joke this time. I'm being legit. 48, right?
48. Mm-hmm.
So if you go on TikTok, you can see jokes where people are like, "Oh, I went to the doctor and they told me that I'm old aged," right? And you're like, "Oh," and you go to get up or whatever. And yet we all sit there and go, "Well, we're not really that old." And then all of a sudden you go to get up and you're like, "Fuck, I can't get up. Like I'm that old, you know?" And things like DDP yoga actually do prevent like that deterioration of like the regular body movement, right? It allows you to be a lot more flexible and everything else so that you don't have the pain. You don't have, I mean, DDP is like 64 years old and he has like no pain in anything that he does. Well, you can't compare Magnum to Slaughter or Mick or Lex because Magnum didn't take as much punishment there. But Magnum took a lot of punishment in the car wreck, just like Brian Pillman did. So we can actually continue to talk about them in the same way that we would talk about the pro wrestlers.
And the sailboat, the parasailing accident.
What's up?
And Brutus beefcake in the parasailing accident.
But you know, Brutus actually made a comeback, and the biggest thing that was the worry about him was whether or not he could take a punch to the face, and that's why they had the Mega Powers like mask on him at that SummerSlam event. But then obviously he came back as like what the Prophet or whatever as part of the NWO.
No. God, what was it? I can't remember, but yeah.
Oh, he was terrible in that role. Like I'll tell you, when I was growing up, Brutus Beefcake was one of my favorite pro wrestlers. I love the cutting and strutting, man.
Yeah,
I love that. And I think it's because when you're a 12-year-old kid and you're watching this shit,
Zodiac.
you're not looking at it going, man, that dude is wearing fishnets. You know, you're not looking at it like that. You're looking at it like, this dude's really cool because he's cutting people's fucking hair in the ring, you know? And that's what I would think when I would watch it. So, well, Brutus came back thanks to his best friend Terry and his magic substance, HGH. Yeah, I get that. No, he wasn't just the Zodiac. He was the Zodiac when it was the OWN, when it was the One Warrior Nation, is when he came back as the Zodiac.
Well, I'm looking back with all his names: Baron Beefcake, Big Brother Booty, the Booty Man, Brother Brutai, Brute Force, the Butcher, the Clipmaster, the Disciple. I think that's what it was.
The Disciple. That's who I was thinking.
It was also Dizzy Golden, Dizzy Hogan, Ed Boulder, Eddie Golden, Eddie Hogan, the Mariner, the Man with No Face, the Man with No Name, and the Zodiac.
Interestingly enough, he was Ed Boulder, and yet Hogan had Horace Boulder as his cousin.
And Horace is his nephew.
Well, yeah, or his nephew. But remember, Horace had like that just massive melon, like it was like this big. Remember that?
Yeah, but he was really Hogan's nephew.
he really was Hogan's nephew, and Hogan got him hired and everything else. But So Tino, we've talked enough about what we expect from NXT. So are we showing any love to AEW?
I almost got a tear when Cody took off his boot. You know, it was bullshit. I knew that was bullshit. He wasn't going to retire. I also knew it reminded me of the Salmon suit and Mark Henry.
No, don't you ever, no. Don't you ever speak sacrilege of the Salmon suit. Because the only reason why that was given away was because John Cena was in the ring the whole time. And John Cena held his hand up and Mark Henry said, "Fuck you," and knocked the shit out of him.
But I mean, Henry cried.
Hold on. No. I legit thought Mark Henry was retiring there after
I did too.
20 plus years in the WWE. When it came to Cody, I'm going to tell you right now.
You didn't believe it.
That was bullshit. Horrible booking. Horrible booking. It's terrible. It's bullshit. All right, I got that out of the way. You want me to explain?
I want you to shut the fuck up so I can finish the sentence.
Please go ahead.
I thought maybe he was stepping aside and going to office to hopefully make room so new talent can come out. I really thought that he was not going to wrestle for a while. Plus, I know he has the new baby. Plus, he has his other stuff going on. So I thought that was a way to write him off TV. That's what I thought they were doing.
And in estimation, you aren't wrong as to what that should be looked at as, correct? The problem that we run into is that Malachi Black has his debut, right?
Right.
Malachi Black beats him.
Yes.
Not just clean.
He whooped his ass.
But he whoops the shit out of him and does a spinning kick known as the Black Mass.
But I don't think they're calling it that are they?
I think it'll be called the Black. I don't think they called it that, but they'll call it the Black Mass. But
it's not WWE owned?
No. Okay. No, I think Tommy End owned the Black Mass. So he hits him with the Black Mass, right? And afterwards, Tony Schiavone comes down to the ring after Malachi Black puts one foot on him, and Jim Ross says, "Oh, that won't work."
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. It's over. Malachi Black with his weird, like
I don't get that
birthmark tattoo, whatever, and it's obviously a tattoo. It's obviously just makeup, whatever, because we've all seen him without it. Cody gets up. Cody sounds like he's concussed, right? Like Cody should not be cutting this promo. And then Cody starts cutting the regular promo. And the regular promo is, let me take my boots off. Let me say that I'm retiring. Here's where the problem is with that, Tino. You know this. You have been a pro wrestling fan for 30-something fucking years. The problem with this is this. Cody loses just a regular fucking match. He gets his ass beat, but he loses a regular fucking match. After the match, he goes, fuck it, I'm done. I'm going to take my boots off. I'm going to sit there and say what we do in the business. I'm just going to take my boots off and I'm going to say, hey, everybody, I'm done. Fuck this shit because I got my ass beat. I'm done with this. The fuck? No. You sit there and you man up like a fucking EVP of a company, and you sit there and you look at the camera and you go, I got my ass beat tonight. But I'm going to tell all of you right now, because we're in Jacksonville. This is our homecoming. This is where we came to when the entire pandemic shut everything else down, and we succeeded during this. And I'm going to say right now, because I lost here tonight at our homecoming, that I want one more match against Malachi Black, because he whooped my ass tonight. And I'm willing to sit there and take any stipulation that he's willing to offer. Because I'll say right now, I've got a family at home. I've got friends in the back. I've got the whole situation where everybody knows that there's been infighting between the EVPs.
He did say that.
And I'm going to tell everybody right now, if I can't beat Malachi Black, I'll take these boots off. And I'll do what my dad did and walk away. And that's when Malachi Black is supposed to come out, walk down to the ring, look at Cody Rhodes, and instead of shaking his hand, he puts the hand out, ready to shake it, right? And he gives him another fucking black mass, and he knocks the shit out of him. So Cody Rhodes is left in the ring. Malachi Black sits there and just goes like this. And that's how you end the fucking show. Because Cody Rhodes sitting there saying, I'm about to retire and blah, blah, blah. Now, if you do a retirement match, nobody fucking cares. Oh, you beat me again. Oh, fine. Fuck it. You said you were going to retire last week. Fuck you. It's bullshit. Fuck that. It's garbage. You sit there and you try to build up the retirement match. Hey, I'm going to take your career because I hated your dad and I hate you. Wow. You sit there and you're already taking your boots off and sitting there saying, man, fuck it, I'm already done. I don't care. Like, you can't sit there and go, I'm going to take your career now, Cody.
Like Chris Barrett.
What Chris Barrett say? Did you put it up there? Cody wouldn't cut a promo like that. He would go into Dusty mode. And I'll tell you right now, Dusty would have sat there and said, I lost it. He'd say, baby, I lost tonight. That's what happened. It happens to the best of man, but I'll tell you right now, Daddy, here's what happens. Dusty Rhodes.
Why are you closing your eyes?
Because Dusty Rhodes closed his eyes, Daddy.
Oh.
Dusty Rhodes gonna call out Malachi Black. He gonna sit there, Daddy. He gonna tell you, baby, that here's the deal. If Dusty Rhodes can't beat you, Dusty Rhodes is done forever. And that's the way it's gonna be, baby.
You sound like a baby Bruce Lee.
Sapphire! On the life of Sapphire, I tell you right now, Daddy. No, I'm kidding. I'm just fucking with you on that part. But but it all goes back to show me the money. And Cody Rhodes took all the money out of that match. Cody Rhodes took all the money from that match, Tino. I don't care how you sit there and try to spin it on me or anything else. Cody Rhodes basically said, Malachi Black already beat me. I'm trying to retire. And Malachi Black comes out and just beats the shit out of him. Who cares? Cody Rhodes basically said, I'm retired. Fuck it. Like, Malachi Black is done. Like the character is over. It's what it is. Like, I don't even care about watching the next match with him. Oh, we're going to have him sit there and face Jungle Boy. Fuck you.
Hey, Jungle Boy's good.
No, I like Jungle Boy, but you sit there and you try to tell me that Malachi Black is now done with Cody Rhodes. And he added insult to injury. He just knocked the shit out of him, which means Cody Rhodes is done. Get him out of there. Wheel him out of the fucking stadium. Give him someone else to face. Like if this was legitimate, real fucking fighting, if he walked down and beat his ass, and then while the guy was trying to cut a promo saying, "Hey, I'm gonna come back and or I'm about to retire," and he came back down and he kicked the shit out of him again, which by the way he did. He kicked the shit out of him again. You would legitimately go, well, who's he facing next week? Because that guy's not coming back. Tell me I'm wrong.
No. He did kick the
Chris
shit.
Barrett, tell me I'm fucking wrong because you know I'm not. The only person who is more over than Jungle Boy is that fire ant fellow.
Who's that? Who's that?
I don't even know. Jungle Boy is more over than Orange Cassidy. Yes.
I want to know who the fire ant fellow is.
I don't care who the fire ant fellow is. The fact is that Chris Barrett's statement of Jungle Boy is more over than Orange Cassidy. If you don't believe that to be true, Jungle Boy got a one-on-one fight against Kenny Omega for the world title, and Orange Cassidy did not.
Yeah.
That tells you. Orange Cassidy is fire ant. So Tino, am I wrong about any of that? Like,
no,
we've been watching for 40 fucking years, man.
Yeah, they could have done it better than that.
Like, that legitimately, to me, was Cody pulling all the heat from the angle. Like, sure, Malachi Black walks in and he gets a Cody win. But now I feel like they're going to go into All Out and Cody's going to get his win back. So it's 50-50 fucking booking, which makes you think that Cody Rhodes is fucking the WWE in terms of booking in his own company.
Or like I said, I think that might be a match to get him off TV for a while. Yeah. And then come back and possibly whoop, but not anytime soon. Like I said, give it a few months out.
So, but hold on. Just do it all out. Sit there and say it's a career match.
And get it out the way.
Yeah. This whole bullshit of I'm so let me take my boots off. And Cody, you only take your boots off when you know that you already said you were going to take your boots off. You don't take your boots off before that. Now, The Undertaker, 30 fucking years into the company, sure. The Undertaker's able to sit there and take his hat, take his jacket off, put it in the fucking ring, and maybe next year we sit there and go, you know what? Maybe not. But Cody Rhodes? Cody fucking Rhodes? Come on. This fucking garbage, man. Like, that legitimately, to me, based on what he did, was he basically said, I'm going to get my win back against Malachi Black because Malachi's gonna sit there and say, I get your career if I beat you. Oh, and then Cody wins. Fuck that. And who cares if Cody loses at this point? Cody was going to retire. Who fucking cares? I'm serious.
You're really hostile and angry about this, aren't you?
Dude, it's stupid fucking booking. I am pissed off about it. I am hot about it because if you want to make Malachi Black into a instant world title contender, right?
Mm.
You say, hey, we're going to have our first match. Okay. Cody loses that match because Cody is Teflon. Cody can lose that fucking match and not have anything happen to his stardom, right? But Malachi Black loses that match. Malachi Black is instantly AEW mid-card. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. So you have Malachi Black sit there, and when you think it's a 50-50 booking match, you have Malachi Black sit there and hit him with the black mask, 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. And you're like, holy shit, what the hell did I just say? In fact, you do it in like less than 5 minutes because you're sitting there going, damn, I expected Cody to give a better fight than that.
Right.
Then you have Tony Schiavone come down to the ring. Tony Schiavone say, wow, Cody, that was not quite what we expected. Like you've obviously put yourself against just about every talent that's walked in the door, and Malachi Black has walked in and just made you look like a simp, right? And you have Cody sit there and go, Tony, you're absolutely right. I can't speak about that. Maybe it's the fact that I've got the Cody Rhodes show with me and Brandy and our new baby on TNT. Maybe it's the big show that we're doing on TBS. Maybe it's one of those things, and maybe that's what's taken me away from doing what is the ultimate necessary thing for us on these programs. Maybe that's what's going on. But I need to see if that's the case. And I need to have another match. And I need to sit there and give him any kind of match he wants because I lost. I lost to him. I am ready to sit there and give him any kind of match that he wants for me to prove that I am still Cody Rhodes. I am still the crossroads of AEW. I need to prove that. Okay, cool. Tony Schiavone sits there and says, well, what do you have in mind, Cody? And then the lights go out. And then the lights come back on, and Aleister Black or Malachi Black is standing right in front of him. And Malachi Black sits there and says, I beat you fair and square. How about if you want this, it's your career. And that's it. If he raised his hands like this, that crowd would be eating it up. We're talking 5,000 people in the stands at these events, and they would be eating it up because he would be like, what if I said your career? And Cody would have to sit there and just take it. But no, instead we get the reason why there's infighting between the EVPs, because they're like, Cody, that sounds stupid. What you want to do sounds stupid. Why would you ever take your boot off before he comes down and kicks you in the face?
Yeah.
I have to hope and pray and dream that somebody looked at it the same way I do, which is, what the fuck is wrong with you for wanting to do it that way? I have to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see how it plays out. I want to see how it plays out.
Did you think by any chance, by the way, last week, that Kenny Omega wearing the Cookie Monster shirt was meant to imply the CM Punk reference?
I've seen that on social media. No, I was wondering why I wore it, and then I started seeing that. I'm like, man, that's dumb.
If it's true, it's good. So Tino, I'm giving you your opportunity here because I know that I have spoken a lot during this episode. So I do you think that was implication because Luke Gallows also was wearing a Nature Boy
He was
robe.
wearing. Now, I did think that when I saw the Nature Boy robe, that I thought maybe.
So please talk about that moment and give the listeners out there like something to go by because again, I know that I went on a rant.
Then I'm hopped up on pain pills. I can't think right now, but I did think that when, like I said, he wore the Nature Boy robe. I did find that peculiar, and then I remembered that Nature Boy is no longer with the WWE, so this is a sign that they're trying to get him to come into AEW, which would be awesome because then you would have, was it 3? No, all 4 of the Horsemen. You have Arn, Tully. No, you only have 3. You'd have Arn, Tully, and Rick.
You have this.
Yes.
Be like.
So I think that would be cool. The Cookie Monster shirt, I just thought it was him wearing a stupid shirt. You know, I didn't think anything. I didn't read anything into it. It didn't even dawn on me that the initials on that CM, the Cookie Monster, would be CM for Punk.
Interesting, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So apparently, an AEW wrestler decided that they do not want to speak about the CM Punk rumors. And I don't know who it was. I couldn't find it on the internet. But I found it interesting considering Darby Allin sat there and said, I don't care if you were the best in the world, which was interesting.
Yep.
Then,
that
of course, the rumor of the Cookie Monster shirt. But I will say this. Isn't it interesting that at 7-0, that Christian Cage, whose first appearance in AEW was to sit there and say that he was here to win championships, and then shortly thereafter tried to hit the kill switch on Kenny Omega, is now listed by Tony Khan himself. Tony Khan himself as the #1 contender. So he gets the match at All Out? Is that where we're going?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that because the Battle Royal that they always seem to hold at All Out leads to a championship match?
I don't know. I was reading somewhere too. Adam Cole got me doing it now. Adam Page's wife's about to have a baby.
Yeah, I don't see that causing a disruptance in the Force when it comes to their storytelling. I know if I were to have a baby that I would want to be there. I get it. But I can't see a guy that has every opportunity to be the world champion in the AEW going, you know what, guys? Let's hold off for another 3 months while I sit there and have my baby. So I still, to this moment, anticipate that he will be the guy that wins whatever type of over-the-top battle royal for a world title chance happens. But even if he's the very last guy that shows up and he only tosses one guy out because his wife is in the back having a baby.
But then that throws off your storytelling then, because that means then we know that Christian Cage isn't going to win the title because we know that. we know that it's going to come down to Paige and Omega for that title.
By the way, my storytelling idea and my storytelling booking had never said that Christian Cage was going to win that title.
Well, I know that. But what I'm saying is, if you're saying he's number one contender, he's facing Kenny, they might as well
expect him to win.
Exactly.
No, I to this moment right now, I have said that Adam Page is going to.
Okay, you don't see what I'm saying. Why even bother having a match if we already know that Cage isn't going to win?
You really want to know?
I mean, I won't watch that match because I know he's not going to win. That's just like I don't really like watching KO matches here lately because he's going to freaking lose.
The unfortunate thing is you were absolutely right when it comes to KO matches. However, now that there are crowds back, I do think that's going to change because Tino, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and change the banner. I don't think
Roman was on SmackDown.
I need to change that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me a second. All right. Here we go. You ready? Here it comes. Here it comes. The best show of the week in KO can be over. Here's the thing. I think they are specifically keeping Kevin Owens off TV right now since they had the crowds. Yes, they had him at Money in the Bank. That's fine. We all knew that he wasn't going to win, right? But he hasn't been on TV since. So ultimately, I think that what they're doing is they're waiting for that imminent, like just that boom pop that's going to happen when Kevin Owens finally comes back out. So I would anticipate that somebody will be beating what?
You think SummerSlam?
I would hope, as much as I would want SummerSlam to be the place that he actually shows back up, no. I think it'll be after that.
Okay.
If you follow the AEW booking, no one can beat Omega for the belt, which is a problem. Chris Barrett, you're absolutely right. I have that problem with it. I also have the problem with the fact that
he's holding on the belts.
I do have that problem as well. You're absolutely right, Tino. But I also have another problem. I have a problem that you have the chicken shit heels in terms of the tag team champions that can beat every tag team, which is, to me, they're not really chicken shit heels at that point. So why are they sitting there running away from everything when they're not actually having to run away from everything? Am I wrong?
No.
And this is like we KO is too old and too small for it. Okay, I'm taking that off the screen because I've already said, and I had to stop Tino from talking about it. I've already said that there are exceptions to the rule. And by the way, KO is 6'2" and about 230 pounds. So he does meet the WWE requirements of what you want in terms of a WWE superstar. The problem is that he's not all muscle at 6'2" and 230. So with that said, sure, but let's be real, and again, Vince McMahon we can sit there and say that we absolutely hate what Vince McMahon loves, right? We can say that. Tino, you say that. You tell me all the time.
He's senile.
Yet he's the guy that let Shawn Michaels take the ball and run with it. And Shawn Michaels is 5'9" and 180 pounds. Like, granted, they bill him as 235, but let's be fucking real. That dude is 5'8", 180 pounds. He's Rey Mysterio sized, right?
He's bigger than Rey.
Okay, even if he's bigger than Rey, Tony P says, what? But, by the way, folks, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the Rob Potsy Project channel.
Buy a t-shirt.
And buy a t-shirt. I don't even have that loaded up on this right now because you're not sitting here with me. But, like, they're not, like, what was I saying? I don't even remember. I lost my train of thought because I noticed a new person.
You're talking about Vince McMahon.
Vince isn't senile yet. He's missing a few marbles, but not enough to be seen. No, I don't agree with that, Chris Barrett. I do believe that Vince McMahon is senile at 75, almost 76 years old. What I can tell you is that Shawn Michaels and Triple H absolutely did believe, without a shadow of a doubt, with their roster at NXT, that they could beat AEW.
And they could.
And what happened was WWE did not let them do what they needed to on a weekly basis to be able to do it. Now, I'm not saying that the NXT program was not better than the AEW program. There were many, many weeks where that was the case. Tino and I talk about it on a weekly basis. There are many, many times where NXT was absolutely better than AEW. The problem you run into is that I love Tommaso Ciampa. But if tomorrow Vince McMahon said Tommaso Ciampa is not going to be in that program that he's in with Bronson Reed, we're going to let go Bronson Reed and we're going to move Tommaso Ciampa up to SmackDown, then everything that I've been watching for 6 months is fucking gone. And it doesn't mean diddly shit. Diddly shit, Tino. And that's what has me worried about Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I don't care about the rest of the way. I don't care about Timothy Thatcher. I care about those two fucking guys who for 5 fucking years were the most important element to NXT wrestling. And when the world went to shit and we couldn't have people in the audiences, they got their final match in an absolutely garbage situation. And I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
And to this day, I sit there and go, why in the fuck did we ever let them end their rivalry that way?
I'm wondering, well, I want them to cross paths again now that the crowds are back. And I don't know how they would work that.
I don't know if you do want them to have that happen, because if it did happen, And by the way, the crowds aren't back in NXT. You still got the same fucking performance center.
Yeah, but there's crowds in there too now.
There are, but there's like 8 to 12 people in there.
I think that's that, dude.
No, there's 200 people in there, but even still, it's the same fucking thing. Like, it's not gonna change. And part of the reason why they're not getting the crowd reaction that you would hope for is because they haven't started letting NXT actually broadcast from live stereo places or whatever. Because let's be fucking real, when you watch an NXT show, if you're behind plexiglass, you're missing half the fucking show.
How?
What do you mean, how? The shit isn't happening in front of you. They're not going out of the ring. They're not going into the audience. They're not doing the things that made NXT what NXT was. NXT, when it first, dude, do you remember going to the NXT live show when we sat second row?
Yeah.
And there was threats of people diving off the second deck. They didn't do it, but they threatened it. You remember that?
I also remember, I wasn't there, but I remember Keith Lee pouncing Adam Cole into the second. You remember that?
Yeah, there were lots of stuff like that, but the difference is this. Vince McMahon wants to sit there and assume, hey, NXT lost. Okay, you're right, NXT lost. But NXT's biggest competition is literally touring the country now. And NXT, who is your only broadcasting brand that we think has an opportunity to sell as many tickets, is legitimately sitting in the same building 8 months after the first time AEW said we're getting ready to go out of the building. I gotta be real. I don't have much left, Tino. We're only at 10:30. We're not even at like a late show at this point. But I gotta tell you, I'm truly feeling like at this point, the audience out there probably has felt my wrath. So I will tell you that if you are done, I am done, sir.
I'm done.
We didn't even talk about SmackDown, folks, which, by the way, once again was excellent. Unfortunately, all of the noise about WWE releases happened during SmackDown this week, which basically led to one Mark Henry believing that it was all part of the show. Like, hey, fuck all y'all. We don't care. We're going to tell everybody right now, right in the middle of everything. And I don't know if that's the case, but what I can say is I wouldn't think this is the last moment that we're going to see in terms of people getting released right now. And I hate that feeling.
I do too.
So Tino, I've run my mouth for a really long time tonight.
Yeah, that's usual. Yeah. What the hell is that? In deep thought? Oh, okay. I'm number one.
Yeah. Yeah. Smells like shit though. So go ahead.
Can you do it the Four Horsemen style? No. You gotta do the Arn Anderson.
Oh, the Arn Anderson. Here you go.
How the
Here you go.
Thank you, folks.
There you go.
Oh, bastard. You know what we haven't seen on AEW? We haven't seen Skinny Fat Anderson.
Well, that's good. That's because they're holding it off because we're going to see skinny fat CM Punk.
So you think he's going to go against Arn's son? No.
No. No, I think he's going to sign a very limited contract.
Punk?
Yeah.
What about Brian?
Same thing. If we have to go ahead and say it right now, I think that both of those gentlemen are going to sign contracts that Daniel Bryan's contract is probably going to allow him to pick and choose his opponents.
And probably his dates, because I think that's part of the reason why they're going to AEW, because they'll still be able to go to Japan and still work and things like that.
While I agree with what you're saying, I think that's smart on the ideal of what they're doing. I kind of think that, like with Daniel Bryan, he's going to sign a contract that only requires him to work. And when I say work, I mean matches, like 35 matches a year. And CM Punk, I can kind of assume the same thing, because let's be real, if those guys sign a 35 match deal a year, that's 75% of the year that those guys have to do a match on either television or pay-per-view.
Now, when you say, what would you say, 35 matches, that still have to go to TV tapings. It's just so
sure, but that's because, like, let's be real, Jericho does TV matches, right?
Right.
So you can't assume that other guys aren't going to do TV matches. But if I had to guess, at this point, Jericho's contract is probably for 35 appearances a year.
But he's just doing more just because he's Jericho.
Well, because A, because he's Jericho, B, because he wants to do more, and C, because, well, concerts weren't happening.
So you think once concerts are back, we're not going to see as much Jericho?
Correct. I think we're going to see Jericho lose to MJF, which means it'll be a career, quote unquote, match. And Jericho will be gone for 6 months, and then he'll show up and you'll be like, holy shit, it's Jericho. Because why not?
And so that's why we're pushing Sammy, because he's going to be the new leader of the Inner Circle.
I don't know if that has anything to do with any of that. I think that when it comes down to it, that MJF is going to require Jericho to be gone for 6 months or something. And he may say your career, whatever, and then Jericho shows up 6 months later, no big deal. But let's be real. When Jericho signed his deal, Jericho wasn't signing to be an every week talent. And recently, Jericho has been an every week talent. And we were talking about trying to hop off of here, but the reality of it is that Jericho now is very over. So you want him on TV, which he knows, and he's not going to sit there and say no to, right? But at the same time, if Jericho had in place a tour with Fozzy, and that tour was supposed to take place from October 1st to November 30th or whatever, then there's no way that Jericho wouldn't go on that tour, which means that, yes, there's a possibility that he shows up for certain AEW dates, but I would anticipate that he's probably not going to wrestle during those dates. He's just going to show up and do commentary or whatever. And if he did wrestle, I'd kind of anticipate, remember when he did SummerSlam versus Dolph Ziggler and Jericho looked like he was off a step?
Think so.
So yeah. I remember that match, and it was weird because the night before nobody knew who Dolph Ziggler was going to face, and then all of a sudden, like that night, it was Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho shows up, and Chris Jericho kind of, like I said, missed a step, and it's like one of the few times in his career that he missed a step. Now, the way he looks and his body and everything else, like he is definitely slowing down. And I know that there are wrestlers that do that. And with him, he at least continues to still sit there and figure out ways to entertain, even though that is happening. But it might be time to start slowing down. And I wouldn't be surprised if his MJF blow-off is a career match.
Yeah, but knowing that he'll be back, like you said, 6 months.
Well, but that might not be the case, because if it's a career match, then he may say, "Hey, I'm going away for a year minimum," and that's it. You know, like because he's the kind of guy that will hold up to his end of the bargain, and if he says, "I'm gone for a year," I'm gone for a year, and you believe that, you know what I mean?
All right.
You want to tell everybody how to get in touch with us?
Well, you can call Rob at 919. Oh, you mean, okay. So, folks, thank you for tuning in to the show. We appreciate you sticking with us. You can check that fool out on the Twitter machine at BotCheck. I am HootieFan91 on the Insta. He is Rob Potcheck. I am SC Tino. You can always follow us on the Facebook with the Potsy and Tino show on Facebook. We're Potsy and Tino on the Twitter machine. You can follow Rob on his Tiki Talk at
Rob Potsy Potcheck. Please enjoy the TikTok.
And you're checking us out right now on the YouTube. Please subscribe. Usually we do have something that says buy the t-shirt.
Hey, by the way, we're at 101 subscribers. We finally hit it, man. 100 people.
All right, we ought to do something special. Well, maybe we'll talk about that. We'll figure out something.
Maybe next week. But
maybe next week. If
you're not already subscribed, please do. Like the show, do all that good stuff, like the TikToks, because, well, that's how we continue to make this program for free.
As always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song. That is our theme song. You can find them on iTunes for 99 cents. And as always, as each and every week, we hear Ric Flair in the big house in the Queen City. And he
got fired. We don't hear him anymore.
Well, we can still hear him. He's just not WWE.
No, we don't hear him anymore.
We can't do the Ric Flair thing anymore.
No, we hear
Charlotte Flair.
We're Roman Reigns now.
Charlotte Flair's still there, and she is saying, Good night, folks. Please. The man.